All right, everybody, I am finally back with a brand new DC update. I had to take care of some stuff for my business that kept me away from being able to make videos, but I am finally done with those things, and I am able to get back to doing some videos. And this week has been very interesting. As you can tell by the thumbnail, there is an absolute panic out there by gun fanatics. And it's really hilarious to watch the meltdown online. There are some channels out there, and I'm going to give them a big tip, okay? I am very lucky, and I told you guys this in my last video. I came off my biggest month on YouTube ever. I have you guys to thank for that. You guys are really choosing to watch my videos, and I greatly appreciate it. It makes it all worth it. And the reason my channel is growing, and just know that my channel is considered a small channel in the scope of YouTube, but I get a lot of views per video, higher views than most channels with a subscriber count like what I have. It's very unusual to get as many views as I do because of how small my channel is. But I get those views because I'm genuine. I don't talk about other channels. And there are some anti-Snyder channels that continually attack channels like mine and a few others like the Lethal Geeks and Harsh Critics. The 4KO, CS the Director. There's a lot of channels that do this, that they constantly attack those who want to see the DCEU continued. And their channels are just not growing. And the reason they're not growing is because they're not genuine. They're not honest with their viewers. They continually blow smoke. They attack other people. And when you go to a YouTube channel like mine for news for DC and wanting to know what's going on, you guys have made it clear you don't want me talking about other channels. And so I'm not going to get into making that a habit on my channel. And I'm going to give a tip to these other channels because I know they watch content like mine. If you guys stop focusing on other creators, your channel will grow. If you continue to go down the path you're not going to grow. It's just a fact. It's the way the algorithm works. And nobody's going to be able to change that. You can't change it. If you guys are so happy with what Gunn is doing, celebrate that. Talk about that on a daily basis rather than go after people who want something returned that they really enjoyed. It's not going to get better for you guys. And it's really funny to watch the meltdowns because Zack Snyder has been out there posting more photos. And so did Gal Gadot. She got on there and also posted a photo. So these things have been continuing. And I was hoping some big news would drop. And I'm going to show you the stuff that has dropped since my last video. And it's pretty eye-opening. First of all, we do know that Netflix is actively looking at the possibility of buying Warner Brothers. It is absolutely on the table. And James Gunn actually did a post on X. And Costello from the Lethal Geeks, he came out and posted this, and James Gunn said, I have to say, and this is somebody asking him about Netflix wanting Warner Brothers. And James Gunn said, I have to say, this has got to be the wackiest hashtag ever. Number one, Netflix hasn't expressed any such interest, although we've discussed other stuff. And two, Zack hasn't expressed any interest and seems to be happy doing what he's doing. And yes, we too have talked. And first of all, I showed you guys in my last video the quote from Zack Snyder saying that if Netflix owned Warner Brothers, he would continue his vision over there. And so Costello posted, you still think Netflix isn't interested? Your tweet hasn't aged well, a-hole. And so it's true. These people are going to constantly deflect and try to get their narrative pushed versus what is actually happening out there. And you can bet there's more people talking about Zack Snyder's posts and about this sale of Warner Brothers than people are talking about James Gunn or the DCU. It's a fact. So here is one of Zack Snyder's posts. And this is of, I'm not sure how you say her name, but it's Carla Gugino, I think. She's been in a lot of things in the past. She was actually going to be, if Zack Snyder continued with his vision, she was going to be Catwoman. And so he posted a picture of her. This is from a 4x5 Polaroid camera that Zack Snyder shot. And This is a pretty cool photo right there. And so he was going to use her as Catwoman in the DCEU. Also, Gal Gadot on there and posted a series of videos in the first, or a series of photos. And her first photo was her of Wonder Woman in the second film. And she posted, Halloween is always so much fun. You can see Michelle Pfeiffer actually liked this post. I like the post as well. She posted a bunch of stuff, but this was on the front. These people still interested. All right, guys, so this is crazy. Baku Movies posted this, and he says, damn, this guy is popular. His Batman and Bruce Wayne statues already sold out, although very expensive. Warner Brothers just give Ben Affleck his own Batman movie, but away from Gunn's notes. It's time. And you could see that he tagged myself, the harsh critics, yes, the director. And this is from JND Studios, and this was astounding. There were 2 1/3 size statues, one of Batman, one of Bruce Wayne. These both retailed for about $3,700 that are coming out in Q2 of 2027. So it's still a year and a half out, and they sold out. These things look pretty amazing. If you want to go to the JND Studios website, you can actually see these. Holy crap, they are awesome. If I had this kind of money, I would be putting it in my theater. Here is yet another post by Zack Snyder, and we are going to have 2 more in today's video. As you can see, he has been very busy on social media posting stuff about the DCEU. This is not by accident. It's not just to get the fan base riled up for no reason. It's because there are things happening with the sale of Warner Brothers, and Zack Snyder knows what's on the line. Zack Snyder has always been a genius with this kind of marketing. He always posts with a purpose. Also, this was pretty cool from Scott Snyder, the writer of Absolute Batman. It says, Pro, Comic Store Report Summer of 2025. New readers, not collectors, driving sales surge. So 2025, the summer of 2025, had a lot of new people come out, and it's because they launched this Absolute Universe and got a lot of people excited. People started talking about it, and it snowballed, and a lot of these Absolute titles are in the top sales charts. And we're going to look at, I believe I have a couple of charts, or at least one to show you in today's video. Also, the other day on social media, I posted a video where I was building something, and I wanted to see if anybody could figure out what it was. This was the video that I posted, the 2 bins, and then the instructions for it. Can you guess what this is? Then I gave a hint. I posted one of the parts of what I was building being completed there. And then there it is, the Batwing from Batman versus Superman, Dawn of Justice. I may modify this, all of the gray pieces. I may go to Lego website and purchase black pieces to make it look more accurate to the movie. But this is a pretty cool set. I actually bought this when it first came out because it came with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman from the Trinity from Batman versus Superman, and I really wanted those minifigures. And I built this and eventually took it down. It's a much more sturdy build than I remember. It's a pretty cool ship, and you can still get it at a pretty decent price if anybody is interested in this. So South Cali Guy 87 has been out there this whole sell Zack Snyder to Netflix, Zack Snyder's Justice League. He has been driving this like crazy. Pretty awesome stuff. He says Snyderverse and Netflix seem to be the talk of the town lately. And he tagged Zack Snyder as well. And La Derecha Diario posted, Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers and could revive Zack Snyder's DC Universe. Netflix is considering buying Warner Brothers and would open the door to Zack Snyder's return to the DC Universe. So you can see that people have talked about this in the past. This comes from December, if I can even talk right. This is just from the other day, November 3rd of 2025. And so people are talking about it. It's not just channels like mine. There's a lot of talk about this out there and a lot of different trades that reporting that, yeah, this is an actual real possibility. And anybody who tells you it's not, they're lying to themselves. They're starting to panic, realizing that the DCU may not be around for much longer. Here was another post by Zack Snyder. This is from a 50 millimeter lens, and you could see that this is the Joker in the nightmare sequence from behind. You could see pretty much there were a series of photos that he took, and this was one of them. Pretty awesome stuff. So here you go. Here was another post that went viral online and was posted the other day. It's another 4x5 Polaroid. He says, rare color. I love this photo. It is pure Superman. And it is. If you look at how his fists are, the look on his face, he means business. And that's not him being mean. Superman is not mean. This is a Superman who means business. And we didn't get stuff like this from David Cornsweet. We just didn't. And this is the Superman for a lot of people. A lot more people were interested in this iteration of Superman than they were David Cornsweet's. So there's a lot of talk. A lot of people believe that Paramount is going to buy Warner Brothers. They believe this is a pretty much foregone conclusion. And it says, Tom Cruise recently visited the Paramount lot to congratulate the Skydance team on its takeover and to discuss a return to the Top Gun and Days of Thunder franchises, among other possible collaborations. And this is because they did take over. Paramount did buy Skydance, or Skydance did buy Paramount. And so he's already getting into the fray. And there's a lot of people knowing that this could lead to some amazing movies in the future. But not everybody is happy about Paramount taking over. I just want the DCU to be restored. I'm not one of those that has an allegiance to a specific studio, and I've talked about this. I would prefer Paramount to take it over because we would get theatrical releases unimpeded, and we would also get, physical media. Netflix would be my second choice. But there's a lot of people who don't want Paramount to take this over, and I'll talk about that at the end of today's video. So today was the day. Batman number 3 was released. It says, it's here. This is from Jorge Jimenez, who is the artist behind this. He said, it's here in my hands now. And it'll be yours tomorrow. Look at those variant covers. Let's go. I almost bought the variant cover of Batman and Robin jumping down from, the catwalks over there. But it was a variant. It was $15, and I just got the regular cover. And the other cover that was pretty cool was the blueprints for the Batmobile. That's pretty cool too. But this has been some pretty awesome stuff. If you guys haven't been reading this, I did my review on issue 2. I'm eager to do number 3 and read issue number 3 and do a review on it. Also, Night Fight number 1 came out. I'm going to be reviewing all of this stuff on my channel. And so I have to thank everybody because that first review I did on that comic book last month did get over 2,000 views, I believe. And that's pretty good. I didn't know how you guys were gonna respond to me doing a review of a comic book, but I will be doing more of that going forward. Jonathan Bailey, when asked, and he was on Jimmy Fallon, John Bailey, when asked if he'd play the DCU Batman. I grew up with Val Kilmer, George Clooney, and obviously Christian Bale and Robert Pattinson. It's a legacy, and I think James Gunn is amazing. Who knows? So, I love watching people suck up to these Hollywood elites. It's pretty funny to watch. It's all up in the air. We may never see the DCU Batman. It may never end up happening. We just don't know. There's a lot of moving parts right now, and this is all up in the air. This is one of those things that is just bizarre. Aaron Pierre thinks Jon Stewart and Batman would make the ultimate gym partners. I think that would be a great training session. They'd become great training buddies, great accountability buddies. What's funny about this is Jon Stewart doesn't need to work out. He's a Green Lantern. And you've got Batman, who's just a regular guy with no ring behind him. It's just a goofy thing to say. It's It's just funny when you think about it. But this was done in Men's Health magazine, so you could see how it's relevant for that topic, which is pretty funny. So now let's talk about why a lot of people are not happy if Paramount buys Warner Brothers. The Ellison is a family that is more right-leaning, and they've let it be known that their content is going to get away from the woke stuff. And there's some questionable things that they've talked about in the past as far as where they see the future, moving to. So a lot of people don't want the DC over there because I will tell you, under their parameters and what they're moving towards, Gunn's DCU would not fit in that in any way, shape, or form. So everybody's saying that James Gunn would be safe if he goes over to Warner or goes over to Paramount. They have another thing coming, because while they might keep some of these studio heads, James Gunn would either have to completely change the way he's operating, or he's not going to fit within their parameters, and he would be let go. But like I said, if somebody like Paramount takes over, they may wait until after Man of Tomorrow gets released, because that's only, less than 2 years away, and they might want to see how the DCU performs up until then, but it isn't pretty so far, because the first 2 projects that were on TV did not gain viewers. They lost viewers versus the DCEU, and then Superman garnered half the tickets that Man of Steel sold, 13 years ago. Didn't even make its budget back, didn't even beat Man of Steel, not even adjusted for inflation. The only positive thing that came out of Superman is that the people who actually reviewed it gave it a higher score, but the interest just is not there. People wanted Henry Cavill back. All right, so what do you guys think about Zack Snyder posting all of this stuff? I would like to hear your guys' comments below. What do you think about Netflix possibly purchasing Warner Brothers? What do you think about Paramount? It looks like these are the 2 best options, and there's some stuff happening behind the scenes that could make it possible for both of those individuals, and we'll see what happens here in the future, but I will be covering it as we move forward. All right, guys, again, I cannot thank you enough for all of your support. You make it all worth it. We will see you on the next video.